subscribe. Help me hit 500 subs by the end of the year. Hello and welcome. Good evening. Once again, trigger warning. I might be talking about a topic that you might find uncomfortable, as I am addressing the topic of games ending and the aftermath of games ending. So, if this is a topic you think might trigger you, stop watching now. Good evening and welcome. It is the 15th day of October. It is 7:30 at the night. It is hot. And I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. OGGM. We got a little musical there. And tonight is our final, for now, look at the long dark tea time of role-playing games ending. Now we've addressed communication, expectation, personality, ego, playing the game and growing up, taking a break, hacking the system, and now let's address probably the greatest reason that games come to an end: real life. Games end because life happens. Life is everything that's happening when we're not playing the game. And sometimes life interferes with the game. And sometimes we wait till the last minute to tell people, oh, life happened and I can't come to the game, and I know it's last minute, and I know we planned this and whatever. And that's very frustrating. And that frustrating barrels over and you're like, oh man, he just flaked out last week and now he's flaking out again. And how the hell did he forget his wife's birthday? And then you're like, well, fuck this, the game's over. And this problem has even gotten worse thanks to, dare I say it, COVID. Because now instead of being able to get together and socialize, we're socializing across this thing, this interweb. And despite all the people claiming, oh, I'm gaming so much more thanks to the Discord and the Wibbing and the gaming and the interweb and the Zoom. And the fact is the numbers show that is actually not true. While there was a spike in gaming using the online virtual communication during the beginning of the COVID, as COVID has continued, that spike has crashed. And more people have been hit with this sort of psychological, mental, emotional weight, and just finding that the Zoom, the communication between the computer is actually not facilitating more communication and more gaming. It's actually making more and more people want to go, I don't want to do this. Now, I'm one of those people who have a problem with Zoom, but I think everybody has a problem with Zoom. And it gets down to the deep psychological thing that we call the mirror phenomenon. Obviously, it affects some people more than others. Some people have adapted and actually are perfectly fine in the virtual environment. In fact, I think the next stage of mental and emotional evolution is people who adapt to the virtual environment. But for old fucks like me, this is gobbledygook. This is magic that I do not understand. I just want to sit in the same room and talk to people. And this dehumanizes people. The mirror phenomenon, as I have mentioned before, is that subconscious, that deep subconscious fear of mirrors and glass surfaces and reflections and talking to screens instead of real people. Somewhere in the back of our brain finds this not right. It's just, it's something about seeing a one-dimensional image instead of a three-dimensional image. It doesn't see it as human. We're creeped out by mirrors. We're creeped out by looking at the TV. We're creeped out by glass. We're creeped out by talking like this. Even if we're consciously not aware of it, on subconscious level, it's just that much easier to detach. And as the communication goes on and on and on, it becomes that much easier and easier and easier to detach. Especially if, I'm in my house, I'm surrounded by all the things I'm comfortable with. And this makes me uncomfortable. It's much more easier for me to detach and want to do things that are in my house, like get up and go pee, even though you can hear me peeing, or go over to the refrigerator and grab a beer, even though you can see me do that, or forget that I'm not wearing a shirt or whatever, because you're at home and home is safe, and you do things when you're at home that you don't do when you're at a game store or at a friend's house playing D&D. And then, of course, we have outside interference that interferes with our life when we're here, like, the fight that's going on next door between my neighbors. So the real life of COVID and the detachment of us not being able to get together as social animals, and we are social animals, has led to more and more games breaking up. And even before COVID, real life, adults, we do adult things, and sometimes adult things happen and we can't plan on them. And sometimes people get upset with, and it's like, I couldn't control that my kid got hit by a car and I have to take him to the hospital because his arm's broken. It's like, well, fuck you, I planned this game. So games end because of real life. And that's probably the greatest villain in the game ending disease, is that whether you're 4 or 40, real life happens around us and makes us not be able to game, sometimes for a session, sometimes for a year, sometimes ever. And games end, and that's okay. See, it all comes back to the very first topic. As long as we communicate. The fact that we don't communicate is the reason why all the other things I've mentioned happen. Because we as adults don't know how to talk to each other. And now that we're not in the same room with each other, it's even worse. We generally, as a species, forget how to be social animals once we grow up, because we're told, don't express your feelings, don't rock the boat, don't talk bad about others, blah, blah, blah. All the things we're told how to behave as an adult in society. When you take that to the gaming table and you don't tell people what's bothering you, and they don't tell you what's bothering you, and you ask, and the DM asks at the end of every game, okay, blah, 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 input, and everybody's like, oh, I want to give him input. I guess it was a good time. I guess I had a good time. And really, they're like, God, I fucking hated it when you did that. It's because we don't communicate. So this will be the final chapter for now. Not to say I won't return to this topic later on, but for now, let us put the long, dark tea time of a game going to death to the end. Just watch our game sail off across the horizon, give it a Viking funeral as it sails into the black hole of creativity, knowing that nothing ever ends. And whether it's tomorrow or 100 tomorrows from now, we'll game again. I'll game again, you'll game again. Your game may be over now, my game may be over now, but in some form, we will talk again. We will communicate again. We will play again. So just as one thing is going off, a new thing is coming up, because everything ends. And that's okay. Everything has to end, because with each ending comes a new beginning. Look, the ghost is back. You can see the fuzz. Get out of my house. I am the grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM. If you appreciate this content, please comment down below and let me know. If you don't appreciate this comment, also please comment down below and let me know. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and help me hit that 500 mark by the end of the year. It will be awesome if I do. And if you are feeling generous and if you're so inclined, please consider supporting the OGGM adventures, because this is my only job and the holidays are coming up. I will talk to you later. Oh, by the way, Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul is from a Douglas Adams book. So thank you, Douglas Adams, for letting me steal that.